The cruise ship's formal dining room glistened under crystal chandeliers. A string quartet played softly near the panoramic windows.
Kazuki, this is perfect. Every detail. The candles, the ocean view. I can't believe we're finally here.
Kazuki smiled, but his gaze drifted toward the waitress gliding between tables. A flash of fiery red hair approached. She set down a basket of bread, and the nameplate on her uniform caught Kazuki's eye. Erica.
Good evening, sir. It's been a while.
No, it can't be. Not here. Not tonight.
Oh, the lobster bisque sounds divine, and they have that champagne you love.
Enjoy your dinner, madam. I'll make sure it's unforgettable.
She's been waiting for this. A decade, and she's still hunting.
Kazuki had planned the perfect anniversary. He hadn't planned on her.
Kazuki, you're quiet. Is something wrong? You've barely touched your champagne.
Just taking it all in. The ocean. The music. You. It's a lot to absorb.
Erica returned with their appetizers, her movements precise, each step a performance. As she placed the plate before Kazuki, her fingers brushed his hand, cold, deliberate, lingering.
You thought you could forget me, didn't you?
That voice, same venom. The last time he'd heard it, she'd promised he'd never be happy. She'd followed him to his office, to his home. The restraining order barely slowed her.
Erica straightened, her smile immaculate, as if she'd merely commented on the evening's weather.
The service here is impeccable. I've never felt so pampered. This trip was the best idea, sweetheart.
Kazuki's knuckles went white around the stem of his glass. He didn't taste the wine anymore. He tasted old fear. Erica returned with a silver tray, 2 porcelain bowls of soup steaming in the dim light. As she set Mio's bowl down, her left hand hovered. A small dropper slid from her palm.
She's actually doing it. Right in front of me.
A single clear drop splashed into the golden broth. Time seemed to stop.
Don't you dare touch that. Steward, I need this bowl tested immediately.
Kazuki, what's happening? Why are you shouting?
The head steward rushed over, his wire-rimmed glasses catching the chandelier light. Other guests fell silent.
Sir, I have no idea what you're talking about. I simply served the soup.
You know exactly what you did. I saw the dropper. Test this soup, now.
The steward took the bowl with trembling hands. In the corner, Erica's mask didn't slip, but her eyes promised retribution. The steward hesitated, but a commanding voice cut through the whispers. The captain had arrived.
What's the meaning of this commotion? This is a formal dining room, not a marketplace.
That woman just tried to drug my wife's soup. I saw her use a dropper.
Captain, please. This man has been staring at me all night. He's delusional.
The captain's eyes flicked to Erica's nameplate. A shadow crossed his face. He recognized the family name.
I'm sure this is all a misunderstanding. Let me offer you a complimentary dinner another evening, and we'll forget this.
I'm not negotiating. Test the soup now. Unless you'd rather explain to the authorities why you refused.
The captain's jaw tightened. He ordered the steward to take the bowl to the medical bay for a preliminary screen.
Kazuki, please. Let's just leave. Everyone is staring.
The captain leaned closer to Kazuki and added quietly, "For your sake, I hope you're certain." Erica stood rigid, a silent victor for now. They walked back to the cabin in suffocating silence. The moment the door clicked shut, Mio's composure shattered.
Who is she to you, Kazuki? You know that woman, don't you? I saw your face the second she spoke.
Her name is Erica. We dated a decade ago. She didn't take the breakup well. It was over long before I met you.
A decade ago? And she just happens to be our waitress on our anniversary cruise? Do you think I'm stupid?
No, you're not. I think she followed us. I should have told you the moment I saw her, but I didn't want to ruin the night. I'm sorry.
You let me sit there smiling while she plotted? I felt humiliated, Kazuki. Like I wasn't part of your real life.
You are my real life. I was trying to protect you. I promise. I will keep you safe. Please trust me.
Mio eventually cried herself to sleep, exhausted. Kazuki watched her for a long moment before slipping into the bathroom.
It's me. I need that lab test expedited. Pull the full crew file on Erica, personnel history, who signed her on, and start tracking her father's communications.
He ended the call and stared at his reflection. The man in the mirror wasn't just a marketing director, he was a contingency plan. The next morning, Mio forced herself to the promenade deck, but whispers followed like a shadow. Near the buffet, a crew member muttered to his colleague, "That's the wife of the guy who accused Erica, probably just a jealous nut."
Jealous nut? That woman tried to poison me. Does everyone on this ship think we're the villains?
The crew member's face went blank, and he hurried away, leaving Mio trembling with fury and shame.
They all think we're crazy. They're protecting her. I can't walk anywhere without being stared at.
Mio, I'm sorry you had to hear that. I have something to show you that might make things clearer.
He turned his phone toward her. On the screen, a photo of them at the boarding terminal, captioned "Found You," posted by Erica.
She was at the terminal? She's been following us the whole time? And you knew?
I've had a security team on board since we embarked. I couldn't tell you everything, but I swear I'm watching her every move.
Mio stared at him as if seeing a stranger. A security team. What else had he been hiding? Kazuki left the cabin and walked with purpose into the service corridor. He found the head steward near a staff stairwell.
Sir, the captain. He's under enormous pressure. Erica's father called personally. He's stalling on the test.
I know about the staffing fraud. The ghost employees on the payroll. That's just the surface. I'm giving him 12 hours to produce those test results, or the entire board gets my file on this operation.
Who? Who are you?
Kazuki walked away without answering, leaving the steward trembling in the narrow hallway. In the cabin, Mio sat curled on the bed, a tablet illuminating her face in the dim room. She searched cruise line scandal and scrolled past travel ads until a news snippet stopped her cold. Cybersecurity audit uncovers irregularities. The logo matched the stationery in their cabin drawer.
What are you really doing on this ship, Kazuki?
Hours crawled by without a word from the medical bay. Then Kazuki's phone burned with a private message. Results confirmed. Sedative, veterinary grade, captain blocked official release. We secured your copy.
Veterinary grade. Strong enough to drop a horse. This was never about scaring me. She meant to end us.
He sent a sharp message to the captain. Meet me alone. Now. And the captain's reply was a single word. Quarters.
The test was inconclusive. These things happen in a busy kitchen. Why don't we forget the whole matter?
Your lab is compromised. My people tested a second sample. It's a sedative. And this was in her cabin.
You don't understand the consequences. If I move against that family, the cruise line's finances collapse. Thousands of jobs.
I understand perfectly. You're protecting a poisoner to save a fraud. This ends tonight, or your career ends with it.
The captain's hand trembled. He opened his mouth, but no words came. Kazuki turned and walked out, leaving the captain with the weight of a choice that would burn everything down. The cabin walls seemed to tighten. Mio couldn't breathe. She had to get out. She walked the sterile corridors, her mind repeating the same questions until she heard voices near the crew quarters. 2 officers flanked Erica, but she was laughing, a sound that made Mio's skin crawl.
Well, if it isn't the wife, your husband is a liar. Ask him what he really does for a living.
Mio's blood ran cold. Erica was hauled away, still smirking, her words like poison. She raced back. Suddenly the cabin door was before her, heart pounding.
Kazuki, that woman said you're a liar. What does she mean? What aren't you telling me?
Kazuki's face lost all color. He opened his mouth to answer, but a ship-wide announcement cut through. We will dock earlier due to a security matter. Mio stared at him, the question burning. The ship was docking, and the truth was coming. Kazuki exhaled. No more half-truths. He sat across from Mio and began to speak.
6 months ago, the cruise line hired me as a cybersecurity consultant, not a marketing director. I discovered a massive embezzlement scheme. The mastermind? The father of our waitress.
Erica's father? So this isn't just about an old grudge? It's a corporate crime?
Exactly. She stalked our social media, used her father's power to get on this ship, and targeted you. I brought you here because my security team was already on board. I plan to end this and protect you.
You used our anniversary as bait. You turned our special trip into a sting operation.
I know it looks that way, but I never stopped loving you. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you sooner.
Mio's lip trembled. She saw him as if for the first time a stranger. The ship was docking, but the real voyage was through the wreckage of their trust. Mio couldn't stay in that cabin another second. She fled to the deck, wind whipping salt sting across her cheeks. She gripped the railing, the dark ocean a mirror of the churning inside. Kazuki followed, footsteps hesitant. He reached for her shoulder, but she threw up a hand, a wall he couldn't cross without permission.
Did you ever really love me? Or was I just a useful piece in your operation?
The question hit Kazuki like a physical blow, his composure shattered.
You are the only reason I took this job, to build a world where we wouldn't have to be afraid. Every secret I kept was to protect you. I love you more than my own hidden truths.
Her anger faltered. She saw the raw honesty beneath the calm he always wore. Mio stepped forward and buried her face in his chest, his arms wrapped around her, holding tight.
Don't ever keep a secret like that again. Promise me.
Later that evening, a quiet knock came at the cabin door. A crew member handed Kazuki a sealed note. The captain requested his presence alone. Kazuki entered the captain's quarters. The room smelled of brandy and old secrets.
I should have stopped him years ago, but his threats, my silence felt like the only option. Erica has been confined. I've alerted the port police, but her father's jet lands in 4 hours. He'll try to free her.
Then we can't wait. I have months of evidence, embezzlement, ghost employees, the works. I'm releasing the full audit publicly. Right now.
But that will destroy the company's reputation. Do you realize what you're doing?
Better a clean wreck than a floating crime scene. If he has power, I'll take it away.
He pressed send. The audit raced through encrypted channels to every newsroom, every board member. The cruise line's dark ledger was now public. Somewhere in the sky, a father's empire began to crumble. The ship eased into port at dawn. Police officers climbed the gangway, their silhouettes sharp against the brightening sky. Mio stood at the railing, her fingers gripping Kazuki's sleeve. He stood still, watching the procession. 2 officers led Erica out in handcuffs. Her red ponytail was disheveled, but her glare still burned.
You think this is over? My father will crush you both. Just wait.
On a crew member's phone, a news alert flashed, "Holding CEO resigns amid fraud probe." The screen was visible to all nearby.
Kazuki. His father resigned. It's really over?
It's over. Let's go home.
Mio's hand trembled. Kazuki gently squeezed it, his callous thumb tracing her wedding ring. Erica was shoved into a police car, her last scream swallowed by the wind. The dock fell quiet. For the first time in days, Kazuki let the tension leave his shoulders. But he knew the wounds beneath would take longer to heal. Back on the ship, the morning light shifted everything. Passengers who had whispered now stepped forward with apologies and awe. The captain gathered them all in the main lounge, his voice steady for the first time.
This man helped save our company from criminals. He risked everything for the truth.
Applause rose, uncertain at first, then swelling. Mio stood frozen, Kazuki's hand on her back.
Is it really over? All of it?
Kazuki turned his phone toward her. The message from his team glowed in the dim cabin. Erica's phone records confirmed she acted alone. Father's assets frozen, all clear.
They can't touch us anymore?
Mio let out a shuddering breath. Then she threw her arms around him, holding on as if he might disappear. She held him like a promise she was learning to keep again. That evening, a soft knock at the cabin door. A cream envelope slid under the gap, embossed with the captain's golden seal.
Kazuki, look. It's from the captain. He writes, "Please join me at my private table tonight, a proper anniversary dinner, with my deepest apologies."
A do-over dinner. I think we've earned one.
A real one. No poison, no police. Just us.
Mio pulled out a gown she'd never worn, a flowing burgundy dress that matched her lipstick. Kazuki found his white dinner jacket and straightened his collar. At the mirror, she twirled. They walked the upper deck hand in hand, the ship's lights spilling gold onto the dark water like scattered jewels. At the captain's quarters, the door stood open. The private table glowed with candlelight, fresh flowers, and two-place settings.
It looks beautiful.
It's exactly what we deserved all along.
He squeezed her fingers once. She squeezed back. The captain entered with a lighter step, as if years had fallen away. He poured the champagne himself, the bubbles catching the candlelight.
To honesty, and to the kind of love that survives fire.
Kazuki and Mio exchanged a glance. Under the table, her fingers found his, and he held on. The new waiter set down their plates with a warm, unburdened smile. No hidden threats, no cold eyes.
So, a cybersecurity consultant. Next time we travel, no secret missions.
Deal. I never want to go undercover again.
They laughed together, the first free laugh in days. The sound echoed off the polished wood. The captain excused himself after the main course, leaving them alone with the candles and the sea.
We made it.
Kazuki didn't answer with words. He lifted her hand and kissed her knuckles. The sea said the rest. Kazuki led her through the French doors onto the captain's private balcony. The night sky was alive with stars. From his jacket, he withdrew a slim velvet box, not a ring, but a fine chain with a gleaming pendant. Mio's hand flew to her mouth. Her eyes glistened before she even saw the engraving.
I had this made months ago. It's late, but happy anniversary.
The pendant read, "I'll always find my way back to you."
I was so angry you hid things. But now I see you hid them for us.
I gave you reason to doubt. I'm just glad you're still here.
Mio lifted her hair, and Kazuki fastened the clasp. The silver glowed against her skin. They turned to the railing, the sea stretching dark and endless. His arms slid around her waist. No more words. Just the quiet commitment of two people who had nearly lost everything and chosen to stay. The cruise's final days were a slow exhale. They lounged poolside, reading and dozing, the earlier terror now a dark tale for another time.
So tell me, what's next for my undercover husband?
The board will likely offer me CTO. But I only want it if you're comfortable.
I married a white hat hacker. I might get used to it.
They clinked glasses of iced tea. Passengers passing by smiled, the scandal now a curious badge of survival. That night, they danced to a slow waltz beneath the stars. The orchestra played just for them.
No more secrets. Promise.
He answered by holding her tighter. The words weren't needed. At dawn, Kazuki stood alone on the deck, watching the sunrise. The company was salvaged. His career, too. Mio approached, her hand finding his. Together, they faced the unclouded horizon. While Mio surrendered to a deep tissue massage at the spa, Kazuki stepped onto a quiet corner of the deck and took a call from his team. Erika pled not guilty. Her father is testifying against her to save himself.
You looked happy when I came in. What did I miss?
Erika's own father sold her out. Justice has a dark sense of humor.
They destroyed each other. Karma.
That evening, they stood at the ship's bow, the sunset splashing orange and violet across the endless water.
Let's take a picture. A real one, with real smiles.
The photo caught them mid-laugh, the wind lifting her hair, his arm wrapped tight around her shoulder. Mio set it as her wallpaper, a quiet promise captured in pixels. No more hiding. Disembarkation day. Their luggage was already packed, the cabin stripped of its secrets and tension. It was time. At the gangway, the captain waited, his hand extended in a gesture of genuine respect. His smile finally reached his eyes.
I meant what I said about the CTO post. The board wants you. The company owes you more than a dinner.
I'll consider it. But right now, the only thing I want is to take my wife home.
Mio gave a playful curtsy, and the captain laughed, a genuine, weightless sound. They walked down the ramp, hand in hand, the ship looming behind them like a memory. At the bottom, Mio glanced back at the massive hull.
I'm almost going to miss it.
No, you're not.
They turned toward the waiting car. The cruise was finally behind them, but they carried its lessons home. 1 week later, a new nameplate gleamed on a corner office door. CTO. A framed photo of Mio at the captain's dinner stood beside the monitor. She arrived with takeout, the same warm smile she'd worn on the cruise. The office felt suddenly like home.
Surprise. I brought your favorite. I figured you'd skip lunch otherwise.
They sat across from each other, containers opened, the city murmuring below. The normalcy felt surreal.
The local news ran a follow-up. Neighbors have been kind like we're survivors of something.
Does that bother you? Being known for what happened?
No. It means they know the truth. That you're a hero.
She leaned across the desk and kissed him, quick and certain.
I'm okay with all of it, as long as you come home every night.
He could only nod. The promise was already kept. Months slipped into a rhythm of work and quiet evenings. One night, they cooked together, Kazuki chopping, Mio stirring a sauce that filled the kitchen with basil and garlic. Then Mio set down the spoon. The sudden stillness drew Kazuki's attention.
Kazuki, I have something to tell you.
She handed him a small box. Inside, a positive pregnancy test.
We're going to be...
He scooped her up, laughing, spinning until they nearly knocked over the cutting board. The sauce simmered forgotten. Later, they curled on the sofa in the dim living room. Her head rested on his shoulder, her hand on her stomach.
I hope they get your calm. You never panic.
And your smile. The world needs it.
The future stretched before them, infinite and unafraid. The months brought a growing belly and quiet doctor's visits. One afternoon, the ultrasound gel was cool on Mio's skin, and the screen flickered to life. A rapid whooshing filled the room, the baby's heartbeat.
Hear that? That's our little one. The tough cybersecurity expert crying.
That's our... baby.
He didn't answer with words. He held her hand tighter. The sound echoed in his chest, louder than any alarm he'd ever faced. They drove to the harbor afterward. A cruise ship sat in the distance, its lights twinkling like the promise of something new.
One day, we'll take our kid on a cruise, show them the sea where we survived.
Let's wait till they're older. And maybe avoid the soup course.
The sun dipped low, and they walked home hand in hand, a family in the making. The hours blurred. Mio's grip on Kazuki's hand tightened with each wave, his voice steady through the storm.
Breathe, Mio. You're almost there. I'm right here.
And then, a sharp, raw cry filled the room. A tiny body, a shock of dark hair.
Oh, he's beautiful. Kazuki, he's really here.
Kazuki's hand trembled. He reached out, and the baby's fingers wrapped around his thumb. They named him Riku, land. After so long at sea, they wanted something solid. A nurse took their first photo. 3 hands, Kazuki's, Mio's, and the tiny fingers of Riku. Later, in the quiet of recovery, Mio slept. Kazuki cradled Riku in the dim light.
I'll protect you the way I protected your mom. Always.
Half asleep, Mio's lips curved. She had heard everything. Riku's first birthday filled the house with balloons, laughter, and the sweet scent of vanilla cake. Grandparents cooed over him, but Kazuki and Mio stole a quiet moment on the porch, glasses of juice in hand.
Do you ever hear from her? From Erica?
She took a plea deal. 5 years. Her father's behind bars. It's done.
Their glasses met with a soft chime. To freedom, Kazuki whispered, and Mio echoed the words.
Then we really are free.
Through the window, Riku drummed his high chair tray, frosting smeared across both cheeks, giggling at nothing and everything.
Happy anniversary. Again.
Every day is...
They stood hip to hip, watching their son, the past finally a quiet chapter, no longer a storm but a shore they had crossed together. The future, their true celebration stretched before them, ordinary and infinite. 3 years later, the familiar dock. A boy in a tiny captain's hat tugged Kazuki's hand toward the towering ship. Riku pressed his face to the glass, mesmerized by the blue. The ship's horn sounded, and he shrieked with delight. The same dining room, but no dread. A smiling waiter poured water while Riku arranged his silverware like a chess set.
I kept this table for you. Always yours.
Thank you, Captain. It looks different this time.
That evening, Riku conked out in Kazuki's arms before dessert. They carried him to the deck, his breath a soft whisper against the sea.
Full circle.
Full circle. And a bigger one next time.
She leaned her head on his shoulder. The stars emerged, one by one, until the sky was a map of everything they'd overcome. They stayed until the ship became a quiet silhouette under the moon. The past had finally set sail. The years that followed were a quiet harvest of ordinary miracles. Riku's first steps were toward the sea, pointing at the distant ships, as if already planning his own voyage. They climbed side by side, Mio's promotion, Kazuki's firm earning accolades. Christmas mornings brought the gentle chaos of ripped wrapping paper and the smell of pine. On lazy afternoons, they paged through old albums. Riku's small finger always paused at the captain's table. They never forgot that cruise, not because of the fear, but because of what they found in each other when fear tried to tear them apart. On their second family cruise, the photographer caught them mid-laugh, Riku grinning with 2 missing teeth. The storm had passed. The sea was calm. This was their story. Not a fairy tale, but a testament. One quiet afternoon, a teenage Riku pulled an old leather photo album from the shelf. Dust motes danced in the light. He stopped at a faded picture of his parents at a captain's table. Younger, but already unbreakable.
That's the one. The trip with the angry waitress. Your dad was very brave.
Bravery is just love in action. Some people try to bring poison, but you don't swallow it. You protect the ones you love.
Riku listened, his eyes moving between their faces, absorbing the weight of the words without fully understanding their history. He closed the album gently, as if it held something sacred. Then a grin spread across his face, the same smile his mother wore.
Can we go again next summer? I want to see that ocean.
We'll see.
The album sat on the table, its pages silent but full. The story was no longer a wound, it was a legacy. Years later, another anniversary. Silver threaded through his hair, her updo softer. They stood on a private cruise balcony, alone but never lonely. He wore the silver wave she'd given him. She wore his engraved chain. Between them, the ocean glittered like a promise kept.
We made it.
We kept making it.
They clinked champagne flutes. Below, the sea churned, but up here there was only the quiet rhythm of 2 hearts that had learned every beat.
Same view. Better us.
He pulled her closer, no words needed. Around them, the ship's lights reflected like stars on the water. This ship, once a battlefield, was now their sanctuary. The past had not been erased, it had been transformed. Some love stories are not about the storms they survive, but the stillness they find after. The formal dining room glowed under the same crystal chandeliers. But tonight, the window table held only laughter, no dread. A young waitress set down their appetizers with a cheerful smile, no cold eyes, no hidden agenda, just normal service.
So, are you secretly watching her? Any ex-girlfriends tonight?
Too busy with my wife.
She snorted, then her fingers found his under the tablecloth. The same gesture as that first night, but now it brought only comfort. They ate in easy silence, the ghost of fear long vanished, replaced by the simple joy of a shared meal. The camera pulls back, revealing the elegant room filled with calm, other couples murmuring, the chandeliers glittering peacefully.
Remember when this room was a crime scene?
Barely. It's just a room now. Our room.
The cruise line had changed. So had they. They left the dining room and walked the moonlit deck, the same path they'd stumbled down years ago, now steady and sure. They paused at the railing where Mio had once wept. Her fingers traced the wood, a gentle pilgrimage.
This is where I almost lost you.
This is where I promised I would never hide again.
He leaned in and pressed his lips to her forehead, a kiss that held no fear, only the weight of 1,000 kept promises. Her eyes glistened, but no tears fell. The wound had become a scar, and the scar had become a story they no longer needed to tell. They walked on, arms around each other, their shadows stretching behind them, now a single, unbreakable line. The ship plowed forward, a steady light on the dark water, carrying them not away from the past but alongside it. Two hands clasped on the railing, aged but strong. The rings caught the moon, enough said. Morning light flooded the bow. The wind whipped their hair, but their stance was steady, anchored in each other. Mio held out her phone, arm extended. She grinned. Kazuki leaned in, and just as she clicked, his lips brushed her cheek.
Look, our new favorite photo.
Kazuki took the phone and, without a word, set the image as his lock screen. As the ship began its final approach to port, they stood shoulder to shoulder, facing the approaching landmass. Nearby, a young couple watched them with quiet envy. The way one leaned into the other, the unspoken ease.
Marry someone who fights for you.
I heard that.
Good.
She tucked her hand into his elbow, and together they watched the port draw near. The journey was ending, but the voyage would never truly be over. Each step down the gangway was heavier than the last, as though the ship itself was reluctant to let them go.
Kazuki paused at the bottom and looked up at the massive hull, its towering presence now a monument to everything they'd survived. Thank you for staying.
Thank you for fighting.
Mio glanced back at the ship, her eyes tracing its lines as if committing it to memory. They walked toward the taxi rank, her hand now resting in the crook of his arm, the world swallowing their footsteps. The camera remained on their retreating figures until they were indistinguishable from any other couple heading home. Above them, the ship's horn sounded, a deep, resonant note that carried all the unspoken words, all the miles, all the healing. The image dissolved into a soft memory, the two of them dancing at the captain's dinner, younger but already unbreakable, the string quartet playing only for them. Their hands, wrinkled now but still strong, rested together on the table. The rings bore the scratches of a shared life. The pendant swung gently on its chain, catching the window's light, its engraving a quiet promise. I'll always find my way back to you. An old photo album lay open on the coffee table. Next to the picture from the captain's dinner, a child's crayon drawing of a ship had been carefully taped. In the photograph, they were laughing, untouched by the storm that would soon test them. The crayon drawing was messy, full of color, signed Riku in wobbly letters, a ship sailing into a crayon sun. In the living room, with no music playing, they began to slow dance anyway. Her head found the familiar curve of his shoulder. The pendant swung between them, a small pendulum of everything they'd promised. Foreheads together, eyes closed. They stopped moving. The dance was over. The stillness was enough. Some love stories are built on the storms they survive. Their hands, now weathered by time, rested together on the polished wood of their table. The engagement ring and the anniversary pendant lay intertwined, as inseparable as the lives they represented. The pendant's silver chain caught the lamplight, and the engraved words, "I'll always find my way back to you," shone with a quiet, enduring truth. His thumb traced the inscription with a tenderness born of decades. The hand that had once shielded her from danger now simply held hers in reverence. She leaned her head into the hollow of his shoulder, and they closed their eyes. The noise of the world dissolved into the steady rhythm of their breathing. No music played, yet they swayed. The pendant swung gently between them, a small pendulum measuring not time, but commitment. And in that perfect stillness, the last page turned. The story was complete, not because the years had ended, but because the love had proven unbreakable.